Hey everyone, Mike Burke here with InsideRealEstatePhotography.com. And in this video, we're going to take a deep dive into brokerage deals for real estate photographers. Hey everybody, it's Mike Burke with Inside Real Estate Photography, and I have with me here today Todd Kivimaki. Todd is the owner and founder of Spiro, which is a platform that helps you manage your real estate photography business. I use it for my own business every single day. Absolutely love it. I'm a big fan. As most of you probably know already, we've talked about Spiro a lot on the channel. And also obviously Todd is the founder of Wow Video Tours out in Ohio. So today I asked Todd to come on because I had a viewer ask about brokerage deals, and it's honestly something I don't personally have a lot of experience with, but I know Todd has from listening to the Spiro podcast. This is a topic they've covered on there, pretty in depth. Again, if you are not subscribed to the Spiro podcast, I highly recommend doing so. They talk about all kinds of business related, real estate photography business related topics such as brokerage deals. This is right in their wheelhouse, and Todd has a lot of experience with this over the years of building his company. So if I don't really have the too much knowledge in it, looking for somebody that does. So I thought of Todd immediately when this topic came up from somebody. So thank you, Todd, for being here and taking the time to share some insight.
Yes, my pleasure, Mike. It's so good to be on here. I'm a huge fan of the channel and what you're doing for the community. Just a quick story, and then I'll be quiet and we'll get the broker deals. But I remember when your name came through in the Spiro signups, and I double glanced. I was like, is this Mike, the Mike Burke? And because I think you put Michael Burke. I was like, okay, is it the same? And that's Michael. And then it was. So I was like, oh, Mike's in here. So I was so excited about that. But huge fan of the channel, and I'm excited to be in sharing some knowledge today.
Awesome. Thanks, Todd. Yeah. So if for starters, if you wouldn't mind, maybe just for people out there that may not be too familiar with what a brokerage deal is, if you could kind of give the lowdown on what a brokerage deal is and what that kind of looks like.
Yes, I'd love to. So just defining a couple of phrases that are common in our industry with the word broker. Probably the most common that we're used to is what we call a brokerage meeting, being an office meeting where typical offices have these once a week pending their size, and the agents come in and the manager is there to present some sort of training to them, but they also give a market update, talk about new listings, and I have buyers for these type of listings. So that's a common thing. That's a brokerage meeting or an office meeting. The other way that, and the topic we're going to talk about today is what I have called a brokerage deal, and that is top-down selling at a brokerage. And that brokerage, again, I'll define two more things with the word broker, because broker's used a little bit differently depending where you're at. Like in our markets in Ohio, a broker typically means the broker in charge. That's the person running the company. They have a brokerage license, and there has to be a broker in charge of the company. But if you go to like Charlotte, North Carolina, another one of our markets, most agents are brokers. It doesn't mean they're in charge of the company. So the brokerage deal is top-down selling with the person in charge, creating the relationship, understanding what the broker wants versus what the realtor wants, leveraging both of those items to sell to the entire company in top-down selling.
Before we dive back into the video, I want to quickly tell you about our sponsor, Pixelmob. If you're a real estate photographer looking to lighten your workload, or struggling to find a reliable editor, or just not getting the professional results that you're looking for, then Pixelmob is the solution. Pixelmob is a platform built by real estate photographers for real estate photographers that connects you with skilled editors for all types of real estate photo editing, including but not limited to HDR blending, flambient, object removal, virtual staging, and even video editing. Every editor in their marketplace is vetted to ensure quality, and I love that there's a peer review system so you can see ratings before choosing the right editor for your job. Plus, the editors only get paid once you're fully satisfied with the results. Pixelmob is a much needed resource in our industry and can make a huge difference in your workflow. Signing up is completely free, and if you use my link, pixelmob.com/IREP, you'll get $5 in credit towards your first order. You'll also find that link down in the description of this video. So do yourself a favor and go check out Pixelmob. I'm confident that you're going to be thrilled with what they have to offer. As a solo real estate photographer versus somebody that has, a few people, maybe a team working for them, is this something that you would say is able to be taken on by a solo real estate photographer? I mean, obviously this might depend heavily on the size of the brokerage and everything, but or is this something that you would suggest waiting till maybe down the road when you have a little bit more of a robust infrastructure to support that kind of business,
Yeah, it's a great question. I think a lot of that will depend on your goals as a real estate company. So for me, let me rewind 21 years ago, and I kind of hesitate saying 21 years. Yes, I've done this for 21 years. And when I did that, I was in college. I was in my second year of college. And when I graduated college, I'd run this business, and I had, I probably had 40 clients that that were using me regularly. And for me, I needed some sort of deal, or I needed something to cement the fact that my business was viable. I just spent all this money on this degree. I had graduated. I had a great potential. It was a field I loved and still love. And I was going to say no to all of that and go into this little business I created. So for me, it vindicated my business. And I'm the type of person that my mentality is, hey, I want like kind of trial by fire. The whole office will tell you like, hey, I'm typically a we act personality. I'm like, let's go do it. And I know it's not going to be perfect to launch with, and we'll figure it out along the way. I will say, if you do get into a broker deal, you need to hold up your end of the bargain. Our largest broker deal, this was 3 years out of college. The broker, Rick, he looked at me, and I had the deal. We had the relationship. I had all the top agents. He said, in referring to the fact, could I service the entire company, which is about 350 agents at the time? He said, Todd, last question, can you do it? And at the time, my frontal lobe was still developing, and I just didn't know any better. I was like, yes, Rick, I can do it. And, I immediately called my best friend, hired him on my drive home, and built a foundation around it. So it just has to align with your goals. If you're like, hey, that terrifies me, then a broker deal is probably not for you. If you're sitting at your company saying, hey, I want to find out how to replace me and let my company work for me, a broker deal can be really good for you.
Yeah, it could be transformative, as you just said. Like, all of a sudden you're getting 350 potential clients in one foul swoop. That could be the catalyst for you to hire a bunch of people, but you need to get them up and running pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it's like a cart before the horse scenario, I guess. But I don't know. But you don't want to go out and hire a bunch of people and then not have the work for them either. So it's a double-edged sword there. It's a little challenging to navigate that. So as a deal, you're getting all these agents from this brokerage. Are you offering a volume discount? Are you creating a special package for them? Like what does that look like?
Yeah, great question. So in all of the above, and it's an and or, meaning we have certain variables that we sell with. So what a broker wants and what's important to a broker is different than a realtor. Remember, the broker works for the realtor.
Hmm.
Realtors are 1099 subcontractors. And the job of a broker is to make sure that they provide tools, services, and they provide a platform that allows their agents to succeed. And there's various forms of brokerages, whether it be transactional, whether it be a high split, whether it be, a capping model. But a brokerage deal aligns with all of those in the fact that the broker's getting something, the agent's getting something, and you're getting something.
Mhm.
So I'll just cover those 3 tiers real quick. For you, it's easy. You're getting volume. You're getting a commitment. We also ask that we are the only real estate media company that can market to their agents. It doesn't mean their agents have to use you. They can't do that. But they as the broker and the managers, they will at meetings, anytime someone says, hey, I need a photographer, I need a videographer, they say, hey, use your company. You're the only one that's allowed to advertise or leave materials in their office. You ask that if someone else comes in, great, another photographer walks in. If they leave the materials, the front desk person says, hey, we've got a relationship with the photographer, and they do not accept, they don't advertise in the office. The other thing for you that we ask with our broker deals is we want to be included in so many office meetings. We want to have access to those Tuesday morning meetings. And then also, we like to do this too. We like to photograph their awards ceremony or give options to photograph their awards ceremony. This is a typical thing that your managers or the broker is going to hire out. That is a fabulous room to be in when they give awards because all the top agents show up. And we all know that it's difficult to get to the top agents. That's the place they all show up. So it's great to be in that room. You're in front of everybody taking pictures. So it's just great relationship building.
Yeah.
For the agent, that is what you had mentioned, Mike. So typically they're getting some sort of special bundle and a discount. And that can look many different forms. The one thing, and I can go into this if it's needed, or I can answer questions later, but the thing about giving discounts, I would just suggest, because I've done it the wrong way over the years, is just be consistent on the volume that the client's going to bring you and the discount they get. i.e., you don't want to give a lower volume client a larger discount. We all know that agents, they talk, brokers, they talk, agents, they switch companies. And when they switch a company, they go and they are free with that information. So you should just expect when you're creating this discount tier, these discount tiers, that everyone's going to find out about them. So for many years, I was like, oh, we're going to keep this secret and no one's going to know. And it's like, no, like they find out right away.
Yeah, we kind of touched on, the advantages, obviously, of making these kind of deals, getting the volume, et cetera. What are the downsides? I mean, if you could think of any that, what are the challenges? What are what are the potential negatives of this kind of thing?
Yeah, it's a great question. I'm glad you asked it. The potential negatives are in the fact that, they're hard to get, Mike. They just take time.
Yeah.
As I look back over some of our largest deals, the one I referenced, I got out of college, the big one with the agents, 350 agents. They have 500 agents now. We've been with them 11 years. It took me a long time to get that deal, years to get that deal. And I can walk you through the progression of, indicating factors or leading factors that might tell you that this is a good company to approach, but they take a long time. They are discounting your services. Most brokers want that. They like to combine their buying power with any vendor. Home inspectors, title companies, mortgages, and insurance companies, warranty companies. That's their job as a broker, to provide that value to their agents. So you are going to discount your services. If that's like a 4-letter word to you and you're like, I'm going to be really niched and high end, and I salute you for that, then you need to stay true to your goal of your company. So if discount's bad, then just broker deal's not for you. The other thing that it's going to take is it's going to flex your systems, meaning, do you have a systemized way to hire and train photographers? Do you have a systemized way to have them photograph, to deliver media, to place orders? Can your ordering system take what we call company pay, because that's the portion that the brokerage might pay? Can it handle billing? So there's, with more comes more. They're actually good problems. So I don't want to, if your goal is to grow out there, I don't want to scare you away from it, because as I look back over the last 21 years, like I used to have problems 20 years ago, 18 years ago that needed solved. But as I look back, I was like, I would much rather solve the problems I'm solving today than the problems I've solved in the past. It's just the progression of business. And again, our goal was to scale. We have 30 some photographers. We do 12,000 jobs a year. I have teams of people that do things. That was my goal. But if it's not your goal, then don't let me talk you into it.
So, when you go to approach, sort of landing one of these deals, I'd imagine you sort of know the person already, or maybe work with some of their agents. It's not, I don't know, maybe you could expand on this, but I kind of doubt that you're like just walking into a brokerage that you don't know anybody there and saying, "Hey, like, let's make a brokerage deal," yeah.
Yeah.
It's, if you could talk about a little bit about developing, how these develop, like, are you working with some of these agents first? They get to know you a little bit, and then, like you said, it takes a while. So I imagine it's a process, building a relationship first, building some trust first before you broach this subject.
Yeah, you're 100% correct. So as I look back over the deals we've signed over the years and the path of the journey that we took to secure that deal, the biggest common factor with getting that deal was that we grew an influence in a number of their agents. So I look back over the course of, the first deal I signed out of college, and it was a smaller company, at 30 agents, and it was great. I worked for all of them. They did a lot of listings, and I was already shooting for a lot of them. Out of the 30, probably more than half. And that's what got me to the conversation with the broker. You're right, Mike. You're not going to walk in. You're not going to ask for the broker. You're going to ask for the broker, and they're going to say, hey, he's busy. He or she's busy. They're not here. You're going to have a hard time getting through the gate of the front door, if you will, to the broker. It's just not a call you can make. When you have a lot of agents that know, like, and trust you, then you can leverage them to get to the broker. In fact, it's a funny story. The large deal that I referred to, the one that had 350 agents at the time, I had tried to call the broker. I had emailed the broker. I had sent smoke signals. I had done everything to try to get to the broker, and 100% of them were ignored. When I started shooting for their number 1, 2, probably 4 and 5 agent, and then I had 20% of the top 50. So another 10 in there of their high producers, he sent me an email. So it just shows you that as you get the agents, remember, the broker works for the agents. As you get the agents to know, like, and trust you, you gain influence. Thus, you can have the conversation with the broker.
All right. So when you make these deals with the broker, do they have you sign some sort of formal contract of some sort? What kind of things are involved in that regard?
Yeah, it's a great question. So we do a very simple contract with these relationships. And Mike, honestly, we do that just to make sure that everything's communicated and expectations are set properly. All the contracts have a way for both of the parties to get out of it. Most contracts do. You're not going to have an attorney out there that's going to have you or them sign a contract that does not have a way they can get out of it. So that's just, you're not locking them in. And quite honestly, if your sense of security is the fact that you have a contract with them, a 1 or 3, 5-year deal, it's just a false sense of security where people should want to use your company because it's great for them and it's great for you. That's a win-win. Yeah. So we have a simple contract that we do that basically just defines some of those items that we talked about. So what packages they're getting, what any add-ons might be, and the prices of those. That would detail the discount that you are giving them. It would detail any type of office meetings that you have right to access to. It would detail the fact that you're the only media vendor that they will advertise, that they can put signage in their office. So it has those bullet points. I think all in all, it's a front and back page contract, so it's not a large contract. And then it has some of the, the clause of the termination clause and some other legal jargon in there. But a very simple contract. Some of them, like the largest one I have, the one, we shoot 1,600 shoots a year with them. This is year 11. I don't have a contract with him. I just know what he needs to succeed. We meet once a year. I am not a problem for him. We continue to bring value. We keep his agents happy. And like I said, I regularly meet with him and I do what he needs. And I'm not so much worried about a contract because, like I said, he's going to get out of it. He's got more attorneys than I have people. So, so yeah, just keep the brokers happy, keep the agents happy. And the contract's really just to set those expectations.
Right. Yeah. Just outlining basically what your agreement is and, what's involved in that agreement. Just, it's a great thing to do, I think, just for being straightforward and making sure that everyone's on the same page. So we talked a little bit about obviously what's in it for us as photographers and what the agents get out of these deals. So what about the broker? What are they getting out of these deals?
Yeah, so this is great. So a broker thinks differently, and I call this being able to speak broker. And what that means is you understand what the broker needs. And again, it's different than the agents. There's one metric that is the most important thing to a broker, and it's market share. So that market share is the percent in volume of the real estate market that their company has. So out of all the new listings and out of all the sold transactions, how many did their company service? The way that you grow market share as a broker, two ways, only two ways. One, your agents get more listings, so they have more of the market. The other way is you recruit more agents to your company that in turn get more listings. And a brokerage deal with your media company can support them in both of those ways. So the first one is helping agents get more listings. Well, do you want to raise the floor? Do you, broker, want to raise the floor of your marketing? Would it help if all of your agents did professional photo and video on all their listings? Do you think you could stand out on social media, get more listings, attract more buyers and sellers? They all go, yes. Great. Then you ask the question of, do you think if your company had a tool and an easy to use program where you fronted the money for their media, for the agent's media, do you think your recruitment department could bring in more agents if you had a program like that that's unique to your company? And they all go, oh yeah. And then right there, you're speaking their language. You've talked about getting more listings and getting more agents, and boom, like the deal's almost sold.
Yeah. So in your experience with these brokerage deals, have you have there been any mistakes that you made or, you know, deals that you entered into that maybe you regretted or anything like that where you might be able to, you know, expand some knowledge on things to avoid in these kind of scenarios?
Yeah. Yeah. It's a great question. Three things quickly come to mind. One, we thought that pricing would be private to each deal. And we sometimes priced based on our feelings for that year, meaning we gave a bigger discount to get a deal sold because we wanted to maximize that year. Word always gets out. We then retroactively adjusted. We actually went back to the larger client and discounted them. So yes, please make sure your pricing's consistent. Everybody will find out about it. And it's no problem if a broker says, hey, I want the biggest discount. Say, we would love to give you the biggest discount. You just need to do the volume at this tier. So that's business. It's transparent. You're going to be able to sleep at night knowing that you're treating all of your clients fairly. The second one is that we discounted too much. And there was a very large deal that I worked 4 years to get, literally 4 years. And it was with a large brokerage, and it was in 2 different cities. And it started off and it was great. And then they just kept asking for more and more and wanting more and more. And I think with us coming in and only focused on price, it didn't set any proper expectations with them as to what just what the package and price and what we were offering. So we ended up walking away from that deal. We exited that program, which was painful because it was 1,100 jobs a year that we were doing with them. This is the book, Mike McAllowitz, Pumpkin Planning. If you haven't read it, I would suggest it. And he talks about sometimes you have to get rid of the pumpkins that are not going to be the largest pumpkin so that you can grow bigger. So it's basically cutting off your bad clients to get better clients or great clients that don't complain about price, don't complain about the walls have a tinge of yellow, or don't nitpick every pixel on your photo.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the second one. And then the third one was in one city. It was a new city for us. We signed an exclusive deal with the broker, and it was a good deal for us. She signed long terms. She signed a 1 year, and then she did 2-3 years after that. So we had 7 years with this brokerage, but it limited us in that city. It served the purpose, Mike, as to where we were not in that city. It was an hour away from us. It allowed us to grow into that city very quickly. But also what happened is we became known as only that brokerage's photographer. So when that deal ended, it was tough to grow in that city because we were always seen as nobody could use us, because they would call us, other brokerages, and we'd say, hey, we have an exclusive deal with this broker. And so they kind of just wrote us off. So it's taken a lot of work to get into that city now that the exclusive clause is ended, and to grow in those other brokerages. So those would be the 3 things that come to mind of some missteps or some things I would probably do a little bit differently in today.
All right. Well, I think, we covered a lot of the big bullet points here of brokerage deals. I really appreciate, you coming on, Todd, and sharing your experience with us, having, been in this industry for 21 years and growing your companies and all that. So that was great insight. So I really appreciate your time. And if anybody out there obviously has any questions or comments, please leave them down below. I will do my best to answer them in whatever way I can. So thank you again, Todd, for being here. I really appreciate it, man.
It was my pleasure. It was exciting to be on here. I'm so happy to be on. And I hope that this can at least be an idea of, where there might be some potential for your company, because it's been great for us. So thanks for all the great questions today, Mike.